Hi friends, it's Mari here for Studio Light. I'm going to be creating the slimline card for you today that you can see on the screen using a bunch of really cool products from Studio Light, including this circle-shaped shaker blister. There are 10 blisters in this package that you can purchase. You can also purchase separately a set of dies that cuts out the circle shapes, and also you can create your own little shaker bits if you'd like. These are sold in a bunch of different shapes, and I have linked up to those in the description box below. This is a really fun stamp set from Studio Light called Quirky Flowers. This is also very cool, and I have linked up to this stamp set in the description box below as well. So I'm also going to be using this really cool die set from Studio Light. This is a die cut set that includes dies to create a card shape or card shapes and an envelope, a coordinating envelope. This is really perfect for creating slimlines, and there are a whole bunch of extra dies in this set for florals and hearts, stars, a bunch of different sort of grungy looking, interesting looking shapes that you can include in your projects. This is the die that I'm going to be using for my card front, and I have created here a slimline card base, and now I'll just be creating the card front with using that piece that I die cut from some white cardstock using that die that I showed you. So this is the circle die, the smaller die from the die set that is going to coordinate with those circle blisters for my shaker element here. So I'm going to just tape this circle die down to the center of my white cardstock card front here with some low tack tape, and I die cut that now, and I've put it into my splat box, and I'm going to add some color to my card front with a bunch of dilutions sprays. So I'm going to use some pink, some orange, and some yellow, and I have linked up to these sprays in the description box below as well. But you could use any sprays that you have in your stash that you like to use to colorize your cardstock. So here you can just see I'm finishing up. Once I have this all sprayed with the colors, I will go in with my water spritzer and just spritz with water just to kind of move that spray that pigment around a little bit just to equalize the ink on the paper. Now I'm going to be using my Studio Light stamping platform. I love this product so much. It works so well. And I'm going to be using that here to stamp out some of those Quirky Flowers stamps from that set that I showed you earlier. I'm going to place those onto my piece now that I have colorized with those dilution sprays. That's all dry. I've allowed that to dry. And now I'm going to stamp out these images here with my VersaFine Clair ink. So I'm going to ink that up. You can see that I have the stamp on the window of my stamping tool. I'm going to swing that door shut and just ink up that area with that beautiful stamp. These stamps are so fun, and I love that the circle shapes coordinate so nicely with that shape of the die that I've used for my shaker element. I'm going to use some Cosmic Shimmer clear embossing powder here. I've put that over the stamped area. I've added that to my piece, and I've melted that now with my heat tool, and you can just see how pretty that is when it's all melted. Now I did use another one of the stamps from that Quirky Flowers set for the lower area, and now I'm adding some double-sided tape to the back of my card front here to allow my blister, my shaker element here, to stick or adhere to that on the back. So I'm just putting that shaker pouch on the back here that you can see it's going to adhere nicely to that double-sided tape. Now I'm going to add my shaker mix. I took the larger die from that circle die set, and I cut another piece of acetate that's going to fit over top of the back of the shaker area. I'm using my Studio Light glue to glue down that circle shape of acetate. You could skip this step and just put a piece of white cardstock over top of the back. It wouldn't really matter, just whatever you have to create the backing for this shaker element. And you just want to make sure that you cover over those sequins with something, whether it's white cardstock or acetate, just to seal the sequins into that little shaker pouch area. Now I die cut out an extra piece of white cardstock using that die from the slimline die set just to cover over the back of my card front, just because it's a little bit Well, it's messy. It's not really going to show because I'm going to adhere it down anyways here, but I just wanted to cover it over just to add that little bit of extra strength, I guess, to the back as well. And you can see that I've added some foam adhesive to the back, and I've also added liquid adhesive onto the foam adhesive so that it allows me to wiggle that onto my card front perfectly. This is the Art by Marlene Fauna and Flora Bold and Bright die set with the florals. This is so cool. I'm using the 3 smaller floral dies, and I'm also going to be using this die cut block from the new Bold and Bright collection as well. This is the Golden Oldie die cut block book, and it is full of a ton of die cuts. This is going to last me a lifetime. It is fantastic. This book is really great for sentiments. So I'm going to show you one option for this project. You could add a sentiment just below the shaker element. I'm going to show you the card without this as well so that you can just see how it looks with a little bit of a sentiment below. I did choose this sentiment from that die cut block as well. And I'm going to just place that on with a little bit of foam adhesive, like I said, just to give you a visual of what this would look like for a placement of a sentiment underneath that little shaker pouch area. Now I have die cut out those Fauna and Flora dies from the Art by Marlene die cut set that I showed you. I've cut out just these smaller ones, and I'm going to layer them on top of each other with a little bit of foam adhesive so that you can just see I've added a tiny little bit of foam there. I'm adding those on top of one another, and then I'll add those onto my project. So if you do have a sentiment on your card under that shaker element, you could add this little floral just to the little shaker element above the sentiment. That's one possibility. I'm going to add those other 2 little floral dimensional pieces as well. I like how they're white. They just really pop off the card project really nicely. And I'm going to add a sequin to the center of all of those different little die cut floral elements that I've added onto my project. I am using that Studio Light glue here throughout my project. It is fantastic. I love that stuff so much, and I will be sure to link up to that as well. So here you can just see this finished project with the sentiment, and I'm also going to show you what it looks like without the sentiment on it as well. Here you can just see that I am going to just show you again how you could also create an envelope using that same die set that I used for my card front. So there is coordinating dies in there to create a slimline envelope for your project if you're concerned about having an envelope that will work. This will also fit into a regular letter sized envelope as well. There you can see what the project looks like without that die cut piece on it as well. And if you wanted, you could add a sentiment in a different spot at the top or near the bottom of the project as well, whatever you would like. But I just really love how this turned out. I think it's super cute. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.